What's up, everybody? I'm B True, and patch 2.1 for Diablo 3 Reaper Souls is right around the corner. They're very shortly going to be releasing the PTR public test realm for patch 2.1, and I'm going to be bringing you as much gameplay as I can of that in order to show you guys all of the new changes. But right now, we have the confirmed changes and everything that is going to be in patch 2.1 as of the moment. Now, obviously, that can change, and there are a few things that aren't going to be in the PTR initially, but they will be changed eventually throughout that. So, first off, as you can see here, the PTR is likely to be available in June. As of right now, there's only a week left in June, so it should be coming out any day now. So now, obviously, we're going to jump right into this, and the biggest thing coming to patch 2.1 are the seasons. Now, I'm going to try and get through this as quick as possible, but basically, the seasons are the old ladders from Diablo 2, if you remember those. So what you're going to do is when you create a character, you're going to pick between season and non-season. And so what you're going to see here, you can see there's the seasonal hero and the hardcore. Those are the two options you're going to have when you can click when you're creating a new character. So if you want them to be a seasonal hero, you just check the box right there, and they will be for seasons only. Now what that means is they do not join in with the rest of your normal characters. You cannot play them as with your other people. They are season-only characters. They can only be used in seasons, sort of like the hardcore characters. Now, what seasons are is you will start off completely fresh. You got no gold, no paragon levels, no items, everything is completely back to square one. And what you have to do is you have to level up your character and get your stuff throughout the season. Now, for these seasons, they're only a limited time. And as you can see here, right now they're ranging between 1 to 6 months. They're going to vary depending on what the season is, what the developers have come up with. They've also said that later seasons may contain some basic changes to the rules. So, like no critical hit chance, for example. Something like that. They haven't released any details yet, but that's something off the top of my mind I could think of that could possibly be into the season. Just to kind of, change up the gameplay a little bit. So now at the end of the season, all of your characters, your Paragon experience, your gold, all the items that you get are going to be rolled over into your non-season characters, meaning your character will disappear, and all of the items, the gold, the experience, everything that you got is going to be rolled back into your main account. So you'll be able to use all those items again with your main character once the season's over. Another big thing here, seasons are going to feature exclusive legendary items. Now these items are, like I said, they're only going to drop in the season while the season is running. They're new legendaries with new affixes, changes to the game. But after the season ends, if you didn't play in the season, those items are going to be put into the normal loot table for non-season games. So everything will be accessible by people who don't want to play the seasons. As soon as the season is over, those items are going to be available again. Now, next, we have conquests. Now, conquests are season-exclusive challenges. Basically, they're like achievements that you can only get in the middle of a season. Now, like I said, they're going to be about 10 to 15 different conquests per season. And some of them, like right here you see, is going to be exclusive to hardcore or softcore, depending. And they will only be available for the first 1,000 players who complete a specific conquest. So if you want to see your name on the leaderboard, you have to be one of the first 1,000 players to complete the conquest. Now this is sort of, adding new achievements, things for you to strive for in the middle of the game. You can, possibly passively earn them, or it can be something that you can really set out and try and be the first person to beat, or one of the top 1,000 in order to have your name on the leaderboard. Now next, Nephilim riffs are getting a little bit of a change here. For example, one of the big things in Diablo 3 Reapers of Souls was that they used to have communities called Rift It Forward. And for those of you who don't know, people would start a rift and then somebody else would join in, kill them, and then they would start the next rift, and then you would kind of, progress through, and then somebody would use their rift keystones in order to get to the rift, and then somebody else would beat it and stuff like that. So what they're doing now is they are changing that so that Nephilim rifts will only require one keystone, but everybody who wants to participate has to use one. So instead of costing 5, now they cost 1, but everybody has to devote 1 if they want to enter. Now, like you see here, if you try and teleport into the rift, you're going to have to pay a keystone, meaning you don't have to use one just because somebody opens one, but if you want to enter, you will have to use one. Now, they want to change some of the gameplay in these riffs, and one of the things is they want it to be less random. So they want the riffs to be a little bit more, consistent with their gameplay. So they're making a few changes to that. The monster density is going to be more uniform, and the rift progress bar is going to be dependent on the health pool of slain monsters. So not just the monsters that are being killed, but the total amount of health is going to contribute to how fast the progress bar fills up, making the elite packs worth killing even if you're going for pure speed. So the more health they have, the more they're going to fill your progress bar, and the faster they're going to, progress you through it. Next, Rift Guardians are going to get some tweaks. Their fights are going to, they're going to try and make them as even as possible so that one isn't, hugely more difficult than the other one. They're going to try and make them about as even to kill as possible in order to keep the times consistent. And then next what they're going to do is they're adding greater rifts. Now these greater rifts are a different form of Nephilim rifts, and what that is, they're like an endless dungeon with increasing difficulty the deeper in that you go. So greater rifts, they'll be on a timer, and you have to beat the rift in the amount of time allotted in order to get to the next level of the rift. The time you have to clear a greater rift has not yet been determined. They haven't really talked about it too much, but they said 15 minutes could be something to shoot for, somewhere around there. If you can't finish the greater rift in time, you still can slay the Rift Guardian and get all of his loot. Now, to get into a greater rift, you have to get a greater rift keystone, which is a different keystone from the normal rifts. These can be dropped by Rift Guardians in normal rifts. Now, if you manage to beat a greater rift in time, whatever the time that they give you, then you'll get a greater rift keystone for the next level, and then you can start that next level afterwards. So basically, you can continue to just go deeper and deeper and get harder and harder until you can't beat it anymore. And then that's you'll have leaderboards for that. You'll be able to check that. That's how you can kind of, gauge where you're at and what you're doing. Alright, so as you can see here, you have to choose to use your greater rift keystone when you are opening up a Nephilim, a greater rift here. So you can see here, right here, it says tiered rift, which will be a greater Nephilim rift, level 10. So this is the 10th level, and you have to choose to use that in order to open it up. And then another screenshot here, you can see this is your progress bar up here. It shows you where your progress is, and then this is the time remaining. So these two bars are basically going to race to the end, and if you are able to beat it before the time runs up, then you get the rift keystone for the next level. Otherwise, you lose that, and then you don't get to move on to the next level. But regular monsters aren't going to drop any loot. That way you don't have to worry about picking up your loot, and you can just do it as fast as possible. The Rift Guardian, however, is going to drop a very large amount of loot and have an increased chance of dropping legendaries. If you die in a greater rift, you can only respawn at the last checkpoint, so it kind of keeps you from respawning there and then going back. Now, one of the unique things that they're going to be adding as far as rewards for these are Legendary Gems. Now, they haven't really talked a lot about Legendary Gems yet. They're still going through a lot of work. They don't have any exact examples for us, but basically, they're going to be gems that can only be socketed into rings and amulets. And they said they wanted to do this because right now sockets on rings and amulets really aren't valuable at all. So they want to add something that makes you, consider putting a socket onto your ring or your amulet. Now, these legendary gems are infinitely upgradable, okay, by completing more greater rifts. The deeper you get into a rift, meaning the deeper the level and the higher the level you can get, the higher the chance to successfully upgrade a legendary gem. Now, that's all the information we have about them right now, so we're not entirely 100% sure how they work, and we don't really have any examples of them, but infinitely upgradable legendary gems, it sounds, pretty good. It's something I'm looking forward to. Next, you have the leaderboards. These are just going to really show you, kind of who's doing what, who's got the most, elite kills, who's gotten the deepest into the greater rifts, who's got the highest paragon points, that kind of stuff. it is just kind of to show off, see what you can do. I'm not too interested in leaderboards, but there will be leaderboards for just about everything for you guys who, really want to show off there and plan on devoting a ton of time into these seasons. Now, there are the cesspools is just a new area that's going to come up in your adventure mode in Nephilim Rifts. And now there's a possibility that you're going to be sent to a place that has nothing but treasure goblins. I'm guessing this will happen in a rift. It's not been confirmed yet, but there's been a lot of talks of the word greed and greedy, so that's a little bit of speculation right there. Sounds awesome, sounds like a ton of great loot, so it's something to look forward to. And now, dexterity is getting a very, very big change here. Now, before, dexterity impacted your dodge chance for monks and demon hunters as their primary skill, or their primary stat. Now, instead of increasing your dodge chance, they're going to increase your armor by 1. So dexterity is going to completely change, and now you're going to have a lot of armor as opposed to dodge chance, which should, as they're saying, it should be a little bit more consistent with the damage that you take. Also, they're changing the way that healing works. Life on hit and life per second are going to be buffed considerably in order to make it more consistent with the gameplay, especially with the higher difficulties because of the massive amounts of damage you take, so they want it to feel more important. And in order to kind of compensate with this, they're lowering the amount of health each health globe gives you. So it kind of balances that out a little bit, makes it different. As you can see here, these sets are getting some changes. Nothing really yet as far as what's going to be happening to them, but they are getting some changes. They're going to be adding more legendary stats to the legendary items that don't have them yet, as the ones that are just simply legendary items that don't have any special. But that's not going to happen just yet. It is going to be implemented in the future. Now, you can see here the developers are working on a new Crusader set, but they're not really sure when that's going to be coming in. And finally, for items, they're going to be making a Hellfire Amulet. Now, what this does is it's going to unlock a random passive skill for your class. Now, when they say random, I'm guessing that is going to be when you create the Hellfire Amulet, it's going to choose one of yours and show you which one it is. And this is going to give you 5 passive skills, which can really make a difference, because depending on what you roll, then you can choose something else on what you have, and 5 passes can really change a build and make you extremely, tankier, more DPS. It can give you that luxury passive that you want but don't really need. And now, they're not really sure. They haven't talked about how you're going to get these Hellfire Amulets, but, it could be like the Hellfire Rings. They could use, different materials, so we'll see, and I'll give you more information as that comes out. Now, a big change is happening to the Demon Hunter here. Preparation Punishment, for those of you who have played the Demon Hunter, is very important because it costs discipline, but restores a ton of hatred, so it allows you to spam your hatred skills a lot more, and you're able to use Cluster Arrow over and over. Now what they're doing, they're changing this so that it no longer costs discipline, but it's going to have a cooldown of 20 seconds. Now this is significantly going to change the way that the Demon Hunter plays, because now you can't just sit there and just keep spamming that to have an infinite amount of cluster arrows. You have to wait 20 seconds until you can use it again. But you're going to have a ton of discipline now, and discipline fuels your defensive skills, as you know. So now you'll be able to use those a lot more, and you'll be able to survive a little bit better, not have to worry about keeping just enough discipline in order to dodge attacks. So it's a big change coming, and I will keep you guys updated as far as that goes. And now Awareness, which increases your armor right now by 30% of your dexterity, as well as Seize the Initiative, which does the same thing for monks. Both of those are going to be reworked now that dexterity adds armor. The monk here, his one with everything passive, is being replaced and being called Harmony now. So when you have a single elemental stat, it's going to raise all your other resistances by 30% of that single resistance, even if it's not your highest resistance. So having a bunch of different single, stats for your resistance increases is going to give 30% to all the other resistances. So you monks should be able to have a ton of resistances with this passive here. finally some AI improvements for your pets. All the pets are going to be better. They're going to attack more often. And that's about it. Yeah, so patch 2.1 is bringing a ton of changes, as you guys can see. The seasons, the greater rifts, legendary gems, new items, you know, all kinds of stuff. And I am extremely excited. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. Like I said, as soon as the PTR comes out, I'm going to give you guys as much gameplay as possible so you guys can see it firsthand for yourself. And I'll let you know as that gets tweaks and changes to it, and I'll kind of keep you guys updated. Let me know what you guys want to see from it too. If there's anything in particular you want to see, please leave a comment down below. That way I know and I'm able to show you guys. I like to hear from you guys, so like I said, please write your thoughts down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and or if you are excited for patch 2.1, please click that like button. And finally, please click the subscribe button right below the video in order to stay up to date with all my future Reaper of Souls videos. And that way I can keep you guys up to date with all the patch 2.1 news with the PTR and everything that's coming out. Yeah, so like I said, hit that subscribe button. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.